My friends, let me tell you something powerful. The moment you decide to focus on yourself, the entire energy of your life begins to shift. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining your dreams to people who were never meant to understand them. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that values noise. We live in an age where people believe the louder they speak, the more they're heard, and the more they show, the more they're valued. But the truth is, silence has a power that noise can never match. It's in silence that wisdom grows, where peace lives, and where true strength is refined. When you learn to be silent, you're not suppressing your voice, you're mastering it. You are not avoiding the world. You're preparing to impact it in a way that noise never could. Silence is not weakness. It's a sign of controlled discipline and maturity. It shows that you are no longer desperate to be seen because you already know who you are. When a person learns to be silent, they become dangerous, not in a harmful way, but in a powerful way. They stop reacting to every comment, every opinion, and every criticism. They stop explaining themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. Instead, they act with purpose. Their focus is internal, not external. The quiet individual observes more, listens more, and understands more. And because they are not wasting their energy proving themselves, they have more power to actually improve themselves. Silence gives you space to think clearly, plan carefully, and move strategically. It becomes your armor in a world that thrives on distraction and noise. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't announce every move they make. They don't broadcast every plan or defend every decision. They let their results do the talking. That's because they understand the law of silence. Never give away the blueprint before you build the house. Silence gives you leverage. It keeps others guessing, and it protects your vision from being polluted by opinions, doubts, or envy. The less people know, the less they can interfere. You don't have to prove anything to anyone when you're grounded in who you are. The quiet achiever doesn't need to say, "I'm working." You can feel it through the transformation happening in their life. Silence also helps you master your emotions. When you respond too quickly, you act out of impulse. But when you stay silent, you give yourself the chance to think, to evaluate, and to choose wisdom over reaction. Silence gives you emotional strength, the ability to stay calm when others are loud, to stay patient when others rush, and to stay grounded when others crumble. That kind of control is rare, but it's what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. People who understand the value of silence can walk away from conflict, smile at criticism, and still keep their peace intact. That's real strength. There's also a spiritual aspect to silence. In quiet moments, you hear the voice of intuition and truth. The world is constantly speaking, but the universe whispers. You can't hear divine direction in the noise of gossip, opinions, and chaos. But in silence, you reconnect with your inner self. You begin to see clearly what really matters and what doesn't. That's when decisions become easier because they're not driven by fear or ego. They're guided by clarity and purpose. Silence allows you to realign with what's right for you, not what's popular or expected. When you finally embrace silence's power, you stop feeling the need to defend your worth. You stop trying to explain your dreams to those who cannot see your vision. You no longer need the validation that comes from noise. You begin to understand that every powerful move starts quietly. A seed grows in darkness before it rises to the light. A masterpiece is created in solitude before the world admires it. So when you learn to hold your silence, you're not hiding, you're building. You're growing roots deep enough to sustain the greatness that's coming. That is the true power of silence, strength that doesn't shout, confidence that doesn't need applause, and peace that can't be shaken. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's essential. It's the foundation of every transformation you will ever experience. When you begin to direct your energy inward, you stop wasting it on comparing, competing, and convincing. You stop looking left and right to see who's ahead or behind, and you start looking in the mirror to see who you're becoming. That shift in focus is where self-mastery begins. Most people spend their lives chasing recognition and approval, but those who truly grow understand that the real competition is with the version of themselves from yesterday. The goal is not to be better than anyone else, it's to be better than who you were last week, last month, last year. That's the quiet work that builds confidence from the inside out. When you focus on yourself, you begin to identify your strengths and your weaknesses without judgment. You start learning what fuels you, what drains you, and what distracts you. You begin to see patterns, habits that keep you stuck in habits that move you forward. Self-focus gives you awareness, and awareness gives you control. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't grow in areas you refuse to acknowledge. By turning inward, you develop a deeper understanding of who you are, what you value, and where you want to go. That clarity is powerful because it becomes your compass in a world that constantly tries to pull you in every direction. Focusing on yourself also strengthens your discipline. When you commit to your own growth, you start showing up even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching, even when no one is cheering. You begin to value consistency over motivation. You stop waiting to feel ready and start building habits that create readiness. Discipline isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the quiet repetition of doing the work every day. When you make yourself the priority, you start realizing that every small decision adds up. Every morning you choose focus over distraction. Every time you choose progress over excuses. You're shaping the kind of person you're becoming. That's what self-mastery looks like. It's not a single moment of success, but a lifestyle of intentional growth. Another truth about focusing on yourself is that it detaches you from the need for validation. When your attention is inward, you're not chasing approval because you're too busy improving. The world teaches you to look outside for value, to measure your worth by likes, praise, and recognition. But self-focus teaches you to validate yourself through action, effort, and evolution. You stop seeking permission to grow. You stop needing applause to move forward. You stop explaining your decisions to people who haven't earned a say in your direction. And that's where freedom begins. Freedom is not about doing whatever you want. It's about knowing who you are so deeply that nothing can shake your peace or your purpose. Self-focus also transforms how you see others. When you're grounded in your own growth, jealousy and comparison fade. You can celebrate other people's success without feeling threatened because you're secure in your own path. You stop competing and start learning. You realize that everyone is on their own journey and your only job is to walk yours with excellence. This mindset not only brings peace, but also attracts opportunities because people are drawn to those who are confident, focused, and self-assured. The energy you carry when you are centered within yourself speaks louder than words ever could. The process of focusing on yourself isn't always easy. It requires honesty, patience, and commitment. You'll have to let go of distractions, detach from unhealthy environments, and sometimes outgrow people who aren't moving in the same direction. But the reward is priceless. You gain clarity, confidence, and control over your life. You start operating from purpose instead of pressure. You begin to move differently, think differently, and live differently. And soon, your results start to speak for themselves. That's the power of self-focus. It builds a version of you so solid, so disciplined, and so confident that the world can't help but take notice without you ever having to say a word. Protecting your energy and vision is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your dreams, or your time. The truth is, energy is currency, and how you spend it determines the quality of your life. Most people lose their peace not because life is hard, but because they allow too many things to drain them. They give their attention to gossip, their emotions to negativity, and their time to people who have no intention of growing. When you start protecting your energy, you begin to notice how much stronger and clearer your mind becomes. You stop entertaining drama, stop responding to every distraction, and stop explaining your purpose to people who have no vision of their own. Protecting your energy is not about being cold or distant. It's about valuing your peace more than temporary company. Your vision is sacred. It's the picture of what your future can be, planted in your heart for a reason. But not everyone will understand it, and that's okay. Some people can't see what you see because they don't carry what you carry. That's why it's dangerous to share your dreams too early or with the wrong people. When you do, you invite opinions that can create doubt where faith once lived. Vision requires privacy. It needs space to grow without being polluted by jealousy or small thinking. Protecting your vision means keeping your focus on your goals, even when others can't see the point. It means believing in your dream when it's still invisible, when it's still fragile, and when the world tells you it's impossible. It means guarding that fire until it's strong enough to light up the world. People will always have something to say about your journey. Some will support you, others will question you, and a few will try to stop you. But their words only have power when you give them your energy. Protecting your energy means not reacting to everything that tries to pull you off course. It's about learning to say no without guilt and walking away without explanation. Every time you protect your energy, you reclaim your power, you create boundaries that allow growth to happen in peace. You start spending more time around people who inspire you instead of those who drain you. You begin to notice that your creativity increases, your confidence strengthens, and your purpose becomes clearer when you are surrounded by the right environment. Energy protection also means being mindful of what you consume, what you watch, listen to, and engage with daily. Everything you take in affects how you think and feel. If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, it becomes difficult to dream big or believe in yourself. That's why it's important to guard your mental space. Read things that feed your growth, listen to voices that inspire confidence, and distance yourself from content that breeds fear or comparison. Protecting your energy isn't just about people. It's about what you allow to shape your thoughts. Because thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs create your reality. Your vision deserves the same level of protection. When you are working towards something meaningful, distractions will show up disguised as opportunities. Not every invitation is meant to be accepted, and not every open door leads to your purpose. You must learn to discern what aligns with your mission and what doesn't. Protecting your vision means staying focused even when progress feels slow. It means trusting the process and refusing to let temporary setbacks make you doubt your potential. Every great dreamer had to fight for focus, because the moment you take your eyes off your vision, the world will fill your sight with distractions. When you begin to protect your energy and vision, you reclaim your life. You move from reacting to creating, from surviving to thriving. You realize that peace is not found. It's built through boundaries, focus, and the courage to walk away from anything that doesn't serve your growth. The more you protect your inner world, the stronger your outer world becomes. Your energy shapes your results, and your vision determines your direction. Guard both with wisdom, and you'll find yourself walking in a peace and purpose that nothing external can take away. Results will always speak louder than words, and the truth is, the world listens more to what you produce than what you promise. Talking about your dreams, your plans, or your goals doesn't make them real. Execution does. In a time when everyone is busy announcing their intentions, few are quietly building something worth noticing. Words can inspire for a moment, but results inspire for a lifetime. People may doubt your silence, they may question your distance, but they cannot ignore your growth. You don't have to prove yourself through explanation. You prove yourself through evolution. Every action you take, every improvement you make, and every obstacle you overcome becomes a statement louder than anything you could ever say. There is a certain kind of power that comes from doing the work in silence. When you stop broadcasting every step of your journey, you free yourself from the pressure to perform for an audience. You no longer need validation for every move you make, and that's when your focus deepens. Talking can feel like progress, but it's often a distraction. When you speak too soon about what you're doing, you release the energy meant for execution. But when you stay quiet and consistent, your energy compounds. You begin to work with intention instead of excitement, with discipline instead of emotion. The results that follow become undeniable because they are built on commitment, not conversation. Success has a rhythm that can't be rushed. It's built through small, consistent actions that add up over time. While others talk about what they will do someday, you're already doing it. You're moving quietly, growing steadily, and evolving daily. You start to understand that results don't require explanation because progress is visible to those who pay attention. The best part about this approach is that it protects you from unnecessary negativity. When people don't know your next move, they can't interfere with it. Silence becomes your shield, and results become your response. Every achievement becomes a quiet confirmation that you're walking in alignment with your purpose. The people who talk the most often achieve the least because their energy is scattered across validation, not creation. But the ones who speak less and do more are the ones who create real change. When you shift your focus from talking to doing, you stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. You learn that the only person you need to convince is yourself. That mindset builds strength, confidence, and credibility. People respect results. They respect consistency. They respect those who show, not tell. And once you develop a track record of results, you no longer have to chase recognition. Recognition finds you. Results also carry integrity. They reflect your discipline, your patience, and your persistence. Every visible success is built on invisible effort, those long nights, quiet sacrifices, and countless moments of doubt that you overcame in silence. People may see the victory, but they don't see the process. That's why it's important to remember that results take time. Growth doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen consistently. Every small step forward matters, even when no one's watching. Every task completed, every lesson learned, every failure turned into wisdom contributes to your bigger picture. When you focus on the work, the outcome takes care of itself. Letting your results speak also teaches humility. You don't need to announce your progress because your progress will announce itself. You don't need to defend your worth because your work will display it. True success doesn't need to be shouted. It radiates naturally. The quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're putting in the effort day after day is far more powerful than any verbal declaration. People can argue with your opinions, but they can't argue with your results. So stop talking about what you're going to do and start showing what you're capable of. Let your consistency tell your story. Let your discipline shape your reputation. Let your success become your voice. In time, those who doubted you will fall silent, not because you silenced them with words, but because you silenced them with results. That's the ultimate victory. Not proving them wrong, but proving yourself right. Growth is a deeply personal process, and it rarely happens under the spotlight. It requires privacy, patience, and quiet consistency. The greatest transformations occur when no one is watching, when the world has turned its eyes away, and when you are left alone with your purpose. That's where strength is built, away from noise, opinions, and distractions. Growth doesn't need applause, it needs focus. The more you protect your growth process from unnecessary exposure, the stronger it becomes. You see, real change happens beneath the surface, just like a seed buried in the ground. It doesn't need to be seen to grow. It only needs time, nourishment, and faith in what's coming. When you try to grow in front of everyone, you invite pressure, judgment, and expectation. People begin to analyze your every move, comment on your progress, and sometimes even discourage your momentum. But when you choose privacy, you create an environment where your growth can flourish freely. Privacy gives you room to make mistakes without shame, to fail without fear, and to rebuild without interference. You can experiment, learn, and adjust at your own pace. The early stages of success are fragile, and if you expose them too soon, they can easily be crushed by outside opinions. Protecting your growth means giving yourself the grace to evolve quietly without the need to explain or defend every decision. In privacy, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You hear your own voice clearly because it's not drowned out by noise. You recognize your habits, your patterns, and your emotional triggers. This self-awareness is the foundation of personal transformation. You can't grow if you don't understand what needs to change. The The quiet moments reveal truths that noise hides. They show you where you've been holding yourself back and where you need to push forward. Growth in private gives you the space to face yourself honestly, to confront your fears, to heal from past wounds, and to develop resilience that can't be shaken by public opinion. Another reason growth requires privacy is that distractions are everywhere. The moment you announce your goals, the world starts offering opinions, advice, and sometimes even jealousy. People project their limitations onto you. They'll tell you what can't be done, not because you can't do it, but because they couldn't. That's why the strongest people learn to protect their growth from unnecessary exposure. They let their actions mature before presenting them to the world. They build quietly, perfect privately, and reveal powerfully. By the time the world sees the result, it's already too solid to be broken by negativity. Private growth also builds character. When no one is clapping, you have to learn to encourage yourself. When no one is watching, you have to be your own motivator. That's when you discover the difference between external validation and internal discipline. Growth is not always glamorous. It's messy, lonely, and filled with challenges. But it's also where confidence is born. When you overcome in silence, you develop a quiet strength that doesn't depend on recognition. You start to trust yourself more deeply because you've seen what you're capable of when no one else believed in you. And eventually, the time comes when your growth becomes visible. Not because you announced it, but because it can't be hidden anymore. The results of your private work begin to show. People start noticing the changes in your mindset, your habits, your energy, and your life. They'll call it sudden success, but you'll know it was years of quiet work finally coming to light. That's the beauty of private growth. It looks effortless from the outside, but only you know the effort it took to get there. So keep your process private, stay consistent, and trust the timing. The quiet work you do in the dark will one day shine so brightly that the world won't be able to ignore it. Peace is the ultimate form of wealth, and it comes when you stop seeking validation from others. The world is filled with people chasing approval, likes, comments, recognition, and applause. But the moment you start chasing validation, you lose your sense of direction. You begin to live for others instead of living for yourself. You start making choices not based on what fulfills you, but on what looks good to everyone else. That's how many people lose their peace, by trading authenticity for acceptance. True peace is found when you no longer need the world to clap for you to know you're doing well. It's when your self-worth is rooted in who you are, not in who others think you are. When you focus on peace instead of validation, you start understanding the difference between being liked and being aligned. Being liked means you're adjusting yourself to fit into other people's expectations. Being aligned means you're walking in truth, even if it makes others uncomfortable. Peace doesn't require you to be loud, popular, or constantly seen. It requires you to be centered. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you are doing what's right for your life, even when others don't see it or understand it. People may not always agree with your choices, but when you know they're made from a place of purpose, their opinions no longer have power over you. Seeking validation is exhausting because it's a never-ending cycle. No matter how much approval you get, it's never enough. Someone will always have a different opinion, and someone will always criticize your decisions. But peace is sustainable. It doesn't depend on anyone else. It's built through self-awareness, boundaries, and self-respect. When you focus on maintaining your peace, you learn to walk away from arguments that don't serve your growth. You stop trying to change people's minds and instead start protecting your own state of mind. You begin to understand that silence can be stronger than explanation, and distance can be wiser than confrontation. Peace also gives you clarity. When you're constantly chasing validation, your mind becomes cluttered with noise. What will they think? What if they don't approve? What if they don't like it? And all that noise distracts you from hearing your own intuition. But when you quiet the need for validation, your inner voice becomes louder and clearer. You start recognizing what truly matters to you. Decisions become easier because you're not making them out of fear or pressure. You're making them from a place of calm conviction. Peace allows you to move with purpose instead of panic. It teaches you that not every reaction is worth your energy and not every battle deserves your attention. When you prioritize peace, you naturally begin to attract better things into your life. Opportunities come more easily, relationships become healthier, and creativity flows more freely because your spirit is no longer weighed down by external noise. Peace has a magnetic quality. It draws in everything that aligns with it. The moment you stop chasing attention, you begin to receive genuine connection. The moment you stop needing validation, you start experiencing fulfillment. The people who truly value you will respect your peace, not disrupt it. Those who don't will quietly fall away, and that's not loss, it's alignment. Focusing on peace also strengthens your resilience. Life will always have challenges, but when you have inner peace, those challenges no longer control you. You can face setbacks with calm, handle criticism with grace, and keep moving forward without bitterness. Peace gives you emotional stability. It helps you respond instead of react. It reminds you that not every storm deserves your presence, and not every opinion requires your defense. When you have peace within, no external situation can steal it unless you allow it. That's real power. The ability to stay centered no matter what's happening around you. The most powerful version of you is the one who doesn't need to prove anything. You don't need to shout your worth, defend your choices, or beg for recognition. You know who you are, and that's enough. Peace gives you that freedom. It replaces the desire for validation with a deep sense of contentment and purpose. When you choose peace over validation, you stop living for the world and start living for yourself. And in doing so, you become unstoppable, not because everyone believes in you, but because you finally believe in yourself. Work in peace. And when the time is right, your results will speak louder than any announcement you could ever make. Watch how life changes when you stop talking about what you're becoming and just become it.